Hello and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm sharing with you a set of ATC cards that I created using ABStudio's Rustical Journey collection and lots of Filmora goodies. I hope that you'll enjoy this process. So without further ado, let's get started. As you can see, I started with 3 MDF circles and I'm adhering them to this piece of paper using some soft gloss gel. I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut some of these tags out. And I'm going to add some simple background texture using some modeling paste and one of Filmora's new stencils. You won't be able to see this too much on top of the doily pattern, but you will be able to see it once the color is added later. Now I'm going to use some liquid acrylic to change the color of this white ribbon that I'm going to use through the tags later. Now I know that you could absolutely put this liquid acrylic into spray bottles, but I'm just a little too lazy to do that. So I just do it this way with a paintbrush and lots of water. But you absolutely can dilute them and put them in a spray bottle if you want. Adding just a little bit of random stamping just to tatter them up a little bit more and distress the ribbon just a tiny bit more. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and put them through the tags and then I'll tie them into little bows. I do have trouble with one of these and it gets a little bit off camera, so it jumps around a little bit. Sorry about that. I did go ahead and add a couple little eyelets through the tags, just because, why not? And now I'm putting some twine through the mini tags that I cut off. Once I finally get all my ribbons in place, my bows in place, and I'm happy with that, I start building my cluster. And it's a very random process for me. Basically, all I do is I pick out the items that I want to work with the ATCs, and I make sure that I have enough for each ATC. So if I want hearts on my ATCs, I make sure that I have 3. They don't all have to match, but I have 3. So for this, you'll see like the pink flowers. They each have a pink flower, they each have a heart, they each have a bit of lace. So you'll just see me play with this a little bit here and there, and I'm just using a little bit of cardboard to build up my layers, just a tiny bit, and that's just to give the ATC a little bit of dimension. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that I want to add some chipboard, so I went ahead and picked out some Filmora chipboard, and I'm going to paint it with some white Impasto paint that you'll see off camera. There it is. And I don't use all this, I only use bits and pieces of that chipboard, so I just use the Thistle tops. Sorry, that's a hard word for me to say. Now you can see that I'm continuing to use my liquid acrylics, adding a bit of brown to these hearts and a little frame that I'm going to use on my main focal point ATC. And then I have a I have the metal heart that's kind of like the rusty finish, and I'm going to go ahead and paint that pink with some sparks, and you'll see me do that now. Now I'm going to continue playing with my clusters, placing little staples, holding the twine in place, layering the chipboard on and the tags, and I'm going to continue playing with my clusters. These little quotes are also from the collection, and I just cut them out. And there's the little heart. And there's the little pink flowers that I'm playing off of in this tag. And I decided that the pink flowers in the pattern paper is enough. I'm not going to add the flower. Adding my quotes on top of the tag. You can see that the process is very repetitive, and that's just the way I do my ATCs. I'm sure everybody does theirs different, but for me, I am very OCD when it comes to these kind of things, and they have to make sense in my brain. So I'm layering my chipboard. And that, like I said, that's just the top of the Thistle, and I still have all the gears that I can use in another project. A little bit of cardboard to beef up that layer a tiny bit, and I'm going to go back and add this little, I don't even know where these flowers came from. They were just on my desk. I honestly have no idea what they are. I don't even think they're really craft flowers. I think that they were part of like a gift tag or a card or something. Anyhow. They were here, it worked, it was great. I'm gonna add that heart in place and just keep working with that. ATCs are just fun because they're tiny and they go really quick, and it's just a way to create something without having a huge project that you don't know what to do with, or you're not sure what to make. And sometimes it's kind of like art journaling in a way where it doesn't really matter too much, because you're not going to waste too much product. You're not going to feel like it has to be some big masterpiece. It's just something fun to work through. So I had this collection of paper and I loved it, but I wasn't sure what to do with it. But I really liked the doilies, but they were so busy I couldn't figure out what to do. And I was like, oh, I'll make these ATCs. Anyhow, that's a little bit of my soapbox for the day, I guess. So with the quotes I chose, it's be bold, be brave, just be you. And the main ATC, the one that I have pictured to be in the middle, the focal point in my brain, like I said, you know, things are crazy there, is the biggest heart. And that's why it's the quote that says just be you, because that's, to me, the most important one. But back to the ATCs, I'm adding a little bit of texture paste, and that's just white Crackle on top of the chipboard. Probably should have done that before I glued everything together, but I didn't, so I'm doing that now. And I do walk away from these ATCs after this because I let them air dry and come back to it later. And now I'm going to start adding my color. And I'm just continuing to use the same colors that I've used. So burnt sienna and ochre. They're very vintagey together, and it matches the paper collection well. And if you prefer, I'm sure that you could use tea. That would work. I don't drink a lot of tea, so I don't have any on my desk, but you know, each his own. So I'm just going to continue and just throw this color down, and then I do dab off just a tiny bit and let that dry. And this is going to pick up all the little cracks in the white Crackle paste on the chipboard. It's going to pick up all the little texture that I added with the white modeling paste, and it's just going to age these just a tiny bit. Now I wanted to add just a tiny bit of sparkle, so I'm going in with some sparks, and I'm just randomly, complete randomness, just adding a little bit of pink here and there, because like I said, whenever I use one product on one ATC, I want to use it on all of them. So because I painted that main heart pink, I'm going to go ahead and add enough of the sparks paint between the other ATCs. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going in with a little bit of art stones. Don't really know why. I liked them, so I did. Again, probably should have done that before I added the color, but I didn't, so here we are. And I'm just using some 3D gloss gel and art stones, and I'm randomly placing them around the ATCs. No rhyme, no reason, just wherever I feel like they might go. I also did add a little bit of thread in there, and I think that's off camera, but you can see them in the final pictures as well. And I did forget this, I'm sorry. Once I get the art stones in place, I sprinkled a little bit of micro beads on top of the wet gel, but I had a little bit of camera issues, so I did miss that part, sorry. But that's really going to wrap up these ATCs. I'm going to add just a little bit of splatters in this last little step here, and that's all she wrote. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this process, and if you'd consider giving this video a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I love to read your comments, and if you'd consider being a subscriber, I would absolutely appreciate it. I'm getting close to my ultimate goal, which is just to have 1,000 subscribers so I can have the little shorts and things like that, all those little YouTube goodies that they'll probably change the rules on me later. Anyhow, but thanks again, and you guys have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye-bye.